What's going on, YouTube? I'm laughing at my silly dog running around, as you just saw him go flying like a goober. It's a nice cool day here in Central Virginia. Hi, come on, come here. Oh, you got my shirt dirty. Oh well, it's part of owning a dog. Little bit of dirt, never hurt nobody. Come on, hi. Arr. Arr. All right, go play, run, go. Hope he doesn't knock over the tripod. He's lost his mind. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. I've been working on a list of topics, and these videos are going to be short. You know, the videos themselves are going to be short. The titles are going to be short. This one's going to be called About Thanksgiving, and that's the idea for this series. About whatever the topic is. Try to keep it to one word, right? About Twitch, about Arc Raiders, about Destiny 2. Those are some other topics for a later date, but today's is about Thanksgiving because it is, today is November 10th. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. So to all the veterans out there who may watch this, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. My family's got several veterans in it, both my family and my wife's family. And so while I was never in the military, I do serve the United States in a different capacity. But in any case, about Thanksgiving. So for those of you who don't know, Thanksgiving here in the United States became an official holiday in 1863 by a proclamation from Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. Now, of course, the history of Thanksgiving in the United States predates that by centuries, right? Usually by colonists or pilgrims and local native tribes. There's always a debate as to whether, the first Thanksgiving between colonists and indigenous people was in Plymouth, Massachusetts, or in Massachusetts, or in Virginia. There's going to be debates. I'm not here to even, really worry about those debates. But it's just a quick history. It is something that even predates the colonists. Native Americans and the indigenous folks had Thanksgiving feasts even before the colonists were involved. But as Americans, this became a holiday during the Civil War. It was an opportunity for us to celebrate a lot of things, right? Celebrate, usually it takes place in the fall, celebrate the harvest that we've had, celebrate everything we're thankful for. And I forgot exactly when it was, in the early 1900s. So Lincoln said it was always going to be the last the last Thursday of November. Somewhere in the early 1900s, I forgot when, it was I think it was Theodore Roosevelt. I could be wrong. It may be. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It was changed to be earlier in the month to extend the Christmas shopping season. And then it was in, I believe, 1941, Congress said, no, it's going to be the fourth Thursday of the month. And so this year that falls on, let's see, 1724, was that the 26th, I guess? Maybe? I don't know. Something like that. I could be wrong. I don't have my actual calendar on my watch, so I'm probably wrong. Chat, you guys can, or in the comments, you can correct me. I don't remember off the top of my head when it is. Doesn't really matter. But in any case, here's the calendar. Hey, look at that. You're not going to give me like the full calendar, are you? Nope. Anyways, for me personally, Thanksgiving has always been a time for the first holiday of the season for my family to get together. And for us, growing up in the Northeast, it was an important holiday where we would get together, share a big meal together. Usually it was at my grandparents' house, so it was myself, my brother, my sister, my mom, and my grandparents, her parents. And we would get together at my grandparents' house, and the kids, the younger two, I was the oldest of the three kids. The younger two would sit up at the kids' table, but it was kind of a breakfast counter. And I got to sit down with the adults as the oldest of the 3 kids. But, football would be on in the background in the living room. We'd actually could be able to see the football game from the dining room. But we usually tried to eat about halftime of the first game. We tried to plan it because my grandfather was big into watching football, and so was my mom and myself and my brother. My grandmother really didn't care, but it was an opportunity for us to get together, share some laughs. It was the first, like I said, the first holiday of the season that we really did that. We would, as a family, spend Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's Eve kind of together. As we got older, New Year's Eve kind of started to be more hanging out with my friends. But it was an opportunity for us to hang out together, be thankful for everything that we have done together as a family throughout the year. As I've gotten older, it's still that family mentality, right? I want to have dinner with my wife and our son. For my wife's family, it was also the men were off hunting for that week, and the wives all did their own thing. So it wasn't as important of a holiday for them from the aspect of having to be together. For them, it was more, hey, look, the men went and hunted, got a lot of the meat for the winter for the family. The wives did their things, but as we have gotten older with our family, while we do, appreciate the hunting aspect, and, we have gone hunting on Thanksgiving, especially as my son or our son has gotten older, we get less time with him, right? So Thanksgiving, even if it's just a simple meal, and we watch football. Now, this year, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, my stepdaughter and her husband and their daughter are going to come, and we're going to have dinner together. It doesn't have to be on Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving, with everybody's extended families and everything, it's a lot like other holidays where you fit it in where you can. And so even if you can't celebrate Thanksgiving on the day of Thanksgiving, if you can celebrate it like we are with, like I said, my stepdaughter and her family, we're celebrating it on the 23rd of November. And then my wife, my son, and I will probably do something on Thanksgiving Day on that Thursday. But it's an opportunity for us just to get together, spend time together, share some laughs, be thankful for everything God has given us over the year. And kind of, for me, it's always been that first feel-good holiday of the season. Halloween was always fun. It was for the kids. We always watch The Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown's The Great Pumpkin, or it's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. We always watch that for Halloween. But, for Thanksgiving, we also watch the Thanksgiving Charlie Brown special with Snoopy fighting the lawn chair and all that stuff. And, even me in my late 40s, my wife, who's a little bit older than me, and our son, we watch The Great Pumpkin on Halloween, but we're going to watch, the Charlie Brown one on Thanksgiving, or the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special on Thanksgiving. And it's just an opportunity for us to get together and share some laughs and traditions that we pass down. I remember one year my mother-in-law tried to continue a tradition that my mom always used to do. When I moved down here, of course, I'm hundreds of miles away from my family, but my grandmother would make a turkey and the sides and whatnot, but my mom would make a lasagna. And so I remember the first time my mother-in-law attempted to do the same thing. It was not exactly my mom's lasagna. And my wife, I don't know if you can hear her, but she's off camera laughing. She's in the laundry room. I've got the back door open right now. She's just laughing at that. I think it was a Stouffer's pre-bought lasagna. It wasn't the best, but she made an effort, right, to try to pass down that tradition. And part of Thanksgiving is passing down traditions, whether going back to my wife's family where the men hunted and the women did their things on Thanksgiving, right? That's a tradition. That's a tradition that goes back, I think, close to 70 years now for my wife's family. My family's tradition was get together on Thanksgiving, watch some football. You always had 2 games on when I grew up, but now we have 3 games. I think 3 games. But watch football, have a meal together, a large meal together, have dessert a little bit later, and just kind of hang out. The kids played with their toys and whatnot, and it was, are we celebrating a particular thing? No, it's one of those holidays where we're not celebrating somebody, we're not celebrating, a particular thing. It's, like Christmas, we celebrate the birth of Christ. Easter, we celebrate his resurrection. New Year's, we're celebrating the calendar moving over. Thanksgiving is kind of like Halloween, where it's, there's different traditions as to what led to that holiday and traditions you carry down. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you go out to eat with your family, because we've done that before. And I've caught flack from people I grew up with. Well, you're not supposed to be going out on Thanksgiving. Well, that's what my family wanted. That's what my mother-in-law wanted to do. This was at a time where my father-in-law was still hunting, right? It's what my mother-in-law wanted to do, what my stepson wanted to do. So we still spent time as a family. I don't care if you, go out to get something to eat together, if you order something in, there's all sorts of companies you can buy these meal packs and whatnot for Thanksgiving, or if, you slave in the kitchen. We tend to do things a little bit simpler here, where my wife will make something, but it's, not this big, luxurious meal or lavish meal, because it's only the three of us. And even when we celebrate with my stepdaughter and her family, it's not going to be a big, huge meal, because there's going to be 6 of us, right? But it's what we want. It's what we want to eat. It's what we want to do together. And that's really the important thing about Thanksgiving, is being thankful for everything you have worked on or worked towards throughout the year. Thankful for what God has given you, what God has provided. Thankful for the family that has helped supported you, helped get you to where you are. And the traditions you pass down, no matter what they are. If you want your traditions playing video games. Another tradition we have for Christmas, and this is later on, is we have a Christmas breakfast. Usually have something small for lunch, but then we have Chinese for dinner. And that goes back to a Christmas story, right? But that's our family tradition. There's nothing wrong with it. Same thing with Thanksgiving. We'll probably do something simple like turkey roll-ups. Or maybe we'll do a turkey and, eat the turkey breast and use the rest of the pieces and parts for other things. But it's not going to be huge. It's not what we want. But if that's what your family wants to do, that's fine. If you've got 20 people you're trying to feed for Thanksgiving and you want, have this big, luxurious, lavish meal, then that's fine. That's your all's family tradition. Whatever you guys do to celebrate Thanksgiving. But whatever you do, make sure that you do it with a thankful heart. You are thankful for the things that God has given you, thankful for your wins. Celebrate your wins throughout the year. Be thankful for what you have in life, because we also know there's a lot of people that are less fortunate than us. And, even in some cases, Thanksgiving is to help share some of your extra crops, some of your extra effort with others, for those less fortunate than you. So in any case, I want to thank you all for your time. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. And have a great day. Bye, guys.